Hey traders, what's up? This is a watch list video for Wednesday, October 27th. The SPY hit new all-time highs again. Kind of had that reversal looking candle, but who knows, right? We'll just take it day by day as I do. I'm in cash every night. So a couple highlights before I get into the watch list for tomorrow. IINN, massive move today. But if you weren't in chat today, you'll recognize this setup, right? As it was coming down here, before that one candle, I called it long as a fives buy zone pullback play. I actually had my bid at 591, right? So I was bidding below the whole number. I was doing the double whammy, right? I was looking for the fives buy zone, but also the whole number flush. I didn't call it that way. I think I just said fives buy zone, but had to bid at 591. It only went down to 586. I love when I nail an entry like that, and then it was back up and ended up going out at its highs. It actually went to 888 from the 591 entry, almost $3 a share on about 35 cents risk. I called LIDR, which I went over during the lunchtime Q&A. Excuse me, because somebody asked, sent a question about why I chose that price. So I won't go over it here. I went over it during the Q&A. But anyway, it topped out. It came up here and halted. Then it came out of the halt at the whole number 7 and sold off. So I loved it back through 7. You guys know sometimes I'll treat something out of the halt just like a morning gap play. So called it through 7 here. It ripped, halted, and then went again. I don't know that I sold any over 9, but I certainly sold some over 850. I think I might have sold some over 9. I'm going to check. Yeah, I just looked at my orders. My best sell was 906, so that's kind of cool when the high of the day was 919. So I did sell some over 9. It was my biggest trade of the day probably. And I also called, and I did not take this one because I'm not a fan of early trades right now. Things are too whippy. But OCGN looked, well, it was on the morning gap play list. I said some of you may like this over 11 with the open and the high of day stacked catalysts. In other words, above 2 stacked catalysts above, and it just ripped. And I know a lot of you got it, and then it ended up doing this and halting. And I think, and look at that. I think the World Health Organization came out and asked for more info, and the final decision maybe November 3rd, something like that, per Benzinga. But anyone that grabbed that through 11 did really, really well on that one too. So there's some highlights from today. What are we watching for tomorrow? DWAC. It's that Trump play, had the big rip, and then the gap up, and now we got 3 red days in a row. It's getting down to almost a gap fill. So again, it goes back on bounce watch. I did not trade this today. It goes back on bounce watch for tomorrow. BKKT, which is weird because it had the big rip, then the gap up, and then the sell off. So you got a lot of bulls underwater and a lot of bears underwater, right? It's like who's winning? I don't know. It's kind of maybe in the middle of its 2-day range. Anyway, as a day trader, I've got to put this one on watch, but I'll only trade it with a proper A+ intraday setup. MQ. I also called this one. When it looked like this, I called it anytime today through 29. I forgot. I didn't put that on the results page, I don't think. But anyway, there's the 29 break. And it almost went to 30 before coming back down. So anyone that took that through 29 should have been scaling out some. I would have hit out the rest flat there. This one did jump. I had my finger on the trigger and it jumped pretty quick, so I didn't get it. I did take this 560 touch right here, and it went up a little bit. But, this is a good lesson right here that you had, if you switch to 1s or 2s, you had intraday, what we call shape change on a strong stock. I bet on 1s or 2s, this probably looks pretty good for, that was probably it right there. Anyway, good for an intraday reversal. Not something I normally do, but anyway, I'm going to put this on watch because it's near all-time highs. All-time highs, 32.75. Citron's been bullish this stock. Today's high 32.41. So over today's high, then you've got all-time highs not that far away. One thing I would point out, it's made a big move in 2 days. So to me, I'd like to see this, maybe form a handle and then be a cup and handle on the daily. But anyway, I'm going to watch it. WTRH, big breakout today. We're just going to see if it gives a follow-through setup tomorrow. TRKA, pretty darn strong. And we're going to watch that one. BIMI, big rip today. We're going to watch that one. IINN, I already talked about this one. Interesting, though, it's trading at like $7 in after hours, so I don't know what to think of this thing, but I'm going to keep it on a chart. AXLA, big move, but closing in about the middle of its range. Pretty good volume for that stock, so we are going to watch that one. BIVI, big volume for that stock. Still not even 2 million shares though, so it's a thin stock, but little kind of mini breakout here out of the last month, maybe 3 weeks worth of trading. So I'm going to watch that one. And then a couple of potential gappers tomorrow. EVGO is trading at 878 right now. It hit 877. So it's basically trading right about here in after hours. It briefly went up to like 11 on some kind of charging station deal with General Motors or something like that. But it just ripped in after hours, but gave most of it back. Anyway, the chart's got good support now right here from the last month. So it's certainly a decent looking chart for a potential gapper tomorrow. And then DGLY, which is a stock that I've grown to hate over the years from trading over the years. But anyway, closed at $1.20. Right now, as I'm talking, it's trading at $1.45. It was well over $1.60. So we'll see if it's still gapping in the morning. We'll put it on the gap playlist. And we'll add other gappers as well. And there should be plenty to trade tomorrow. Just be careful. Things have been really whippy early. And that's it for me. I'm done babbling. See you in the chat room in the morning.